You know the title well. Force yourself to be consistent. And today we start with one simple idea that shapes lives more than talent, more than motivation, and more than opportunity. Train your mind to finish tasks even when uncomfortable. Your results are created by what you do every single day, not by how you feel. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you'll work on something important and then gave up because you felt tired, lazy, or unmotivated? You are not lazy. You are human. Motivation comes and goes. Life throws distractions at you, and some days just feel harder than others. That's exactly why consistency is the game changer. It's the one thing that separates people who keep struggling from people who actually reach their goals. In this video, you'll learn how to force yourself to be consistent, no matter how you feel. You'll see practical ways to follow through on your plans, beat the urge to quit, and turn small daily actions into real progress. You'll discover how to control your choices, strengthen your discipline, and prove your commitment to yourself even when it's uncomfortable. By the time you finish watching, you'll have the tools to stop waiting for motivation and start showing up every day, building momentum that can't be stopped. This is how results are truly made. Chapter 1. Train your mind to finish tasks even when uncomfortable. Most people never understand how powerful this is. They wait for the right time, the right feeling, the right mood. But life does not wait for them. Progress does not wait. Results do not wait. The person who wins is the person who finishes what they start, even on the days when their mind tries to talk them out of it. And I want to speak to you just like I would if you were sitting across the table from me. Calm, direct, and honest. Because consistency is not built by luck. It is not built by mood. It is built through discipline and self-respect. It is built through one small decision, made over and over, until it becomes your normal way of living. Every time you face a task, something inside you reacts. You feel a slight push forward or a slight pull back. That pull back is the discomfort. It shows up in many forms: feeling tired, feeling bored, feeling unsure, feeling afraid, feeling like the task is too small or maybe too big, feeling like today is not the right day. And your mind tries to convince you that stopping is acceptable, that finishing does not matter, that you can skip today. But the truth is, every skipped day trains your mind to step back. Every completed day trains your mind to step forward. And the mind follows whatever you repeat. This is why finishing tasks, even when uncomfortable, is the foundation of consistency. When you finish something, you prove to yourself that you can rely on your own decisions. And nothing brings confidence like self-trust. Not praise, not compliments, not reward. Confidence grows when you say you will do something, and you actually do it, even when it feels annoying or tiring or inconvenient. And when you build this trust with yourself, your mind becomes stronger than your excuses. Think about your own day. Think about the moments when you start something and then pause because it feels uncomfortable. Maybe you want to clean your workspace, but you see the mess and get overwhelmed. Maybe you want to start a new routine, and the first 10 minutes feel slow. Maybe you want to study a new skill, but the first lesson feels confusing. The natural reaction is to stop, but that reaction does not serve you. It protects you from discomfort, but it also keeps you from growth. You do not rise from comfort. You rise from challenge, and challenge only changes you if you finish it. So the question is simple. How do you train your mind to finish tasks even when uncomfortable? How do you build the kind of strength that stays steady when most people quit? It starts with awareness. You must notice the moment discomfort appears. Notice the tiny urge to stop. Notice the moment your mind tries to switch paths. That moment is where growth lives, because that moment is your choice point. You can follow your old patterns, or you can choose the path that builds a stronger you. Once you notice the discomfort, the next step is to act anyway, not in a dramatic way, not in a forced aggressive way. Simply continue, keep going, one small action at a time. Your goal is not perfection, your goal is completion. People fail because they try to do everything in one step. Then they feel overwhelmed. But when you break it down, you create motion, and motion builds consistency. Your mind learns that you can handle discomfort without stopping, and that is how discipline grows. Now I want to bring this into real life because this is not theory. This is how people transform. Imagine you wake up and you feel like staying in bed. You feel the heaviness in your body. You feel the resistance in your mind, and the task waiting for you feels far away. If you continue lying there, your day loses direction. But if you take one small step, your body responds. Stand up, drink water, move slowly but move. Your mind sees that discomfort did not win, and tomorrow it becomes easier. Or imagine you need to work on something important, maybe a job task, maybe a self-improvement habit, maybe a commitment you made to yourself. You feel distracted, your head feels cluttered, you do not want to start. That is discomfort, and that is exactly the moment to train your mind. Do one small piece of the task, just one piece. When you complete it, your mind learns that action is possible, even without perfect feelings. This is training, this is mental strength. Another real example. People often quit their goals because they are not in the right emotional state. They say they do not feel inspired, or they do not feel ready. But feelings change all day long. If you depend on them, you will never build consistency. So you train your mind to act without waiting for the perfect emotion. This is where self-mastery begins. Strong people do not ignore their feelings. They simply do not let feelings decide everything. You may think finishing uncomfortable tasks requires motivation, but motivation is unreliable. Some days you have it, some days you do not. You cannot build your future on something unstable. You build it on discipline, and discipline is built by finishing things. Not big things, small things, daily things, and every completion sends a signal to your mind that you are in control, that you are the driver, not the passenger. When you practice finishing tasks daily, your mind becomes more stable, you feel less scattered, you gain clarity, you feel more calm because you no longer leave things undone, and unfinished tasks create stress. They pile up in your mind and drain your energy. Finishing tasks releases that weight. You feel lighter, you feel more in charge of your life, you feel more capable, and this emotional shift is not magic, it is psychology. When your mind sees proof of consistent behavior, it begins to trust your choices, and when your mind trusts you, your confidence grows naturally. Now think about what consistency can create in your life. If you finish your workouts even when tired, you build a stronger body. If you finish your reading even when distracted, you build a sharper mind. If you finish your work even when bored, you build a better future. If you finish your habits even when unmotivated, you build a better self. Everything good comes from finishing, and everything unfinished holds you back. Some people wonder why life feels stuck, why progress feels slow, why success feels far away. And often the reason is simple. They start many things, but finish very few. They depend on comfort, and they stop when discomfort appears. But you are learning something different today. You are learning to train your mind, to teach it to stay steady, to teach it to finish. And when you do this day after day, your entire life shifts. This training requires honesty, honesty with yourself. When you feel the urge to quit, say it clearly. I feel discomfort, but do not let that moment decide your path. Continue the task. You do not need to enjoy it. You simply need to finish it. And the more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Soon the discomfort becomes smaller, the tasks feel easier, your reactions become calmer, and you become someone who does not quit halfway. You become someone who follows through. There is one more piece of psychology that matters here. When you finish something, your brain releases a sense of satisfaction, not excitement, not thrill, but satisfaction, a deep, calm feeling that says this was right, and that feeling is powerful. It becomes a form of internal reward. It teaches your mind to enjoy completion, and once your mind associates finishing with feeling good, you crave consistency. You search for progress. Finishing becomes something you want, not something you fight. Think about the person you want to become. Someone who is steady, reliable, focused, strong, committed. Someone whose actions match their words. Someone who keeps moving even through discomfort. This is possible for you, not someday, not when life becomes easier. Today, now, because all it takes is one task finished, then another, then another. That is how strength grows. Each time you finish something, you change your story. You rewrite the way you see yourself. You stop saying you are someone who quits. You start saying you are someone who completes. That identity shift is the real power, because your actions follow the way you see yourself. And when you see yourself as a consistent person, you start living like one. So begin with one task today. Nothing huge, something simple. Finish it. Feel the discomfort, and do it anyway. Notice how your mind reacts. Notice how you grow stronger. And tomorrow do it again. Train your mind. Stay steady. Choose completion. Choose growth. Choose consistency. This is how you build a life you can be proud of. Not by waiting for comfort, but by finishing what you start even when it feels uncomfortable. That is the start of real strength. That is the beginning of your consistency.
Chapter 2. Control your daily choices by challenging your lazy urges. You make your life one choice at a time. Every day you face small moments where you either move forward or fall back. And most of these choices are controlled not by your dreams, but by your urges. The urge to delay, the urge to relax too early, the urge to avoid anything uncomfortable. And if those urges guide your life, you will keep shrinking your potential without even realizing it. That is why this chapter begins with a simple truth. When you challenge your lazy urges, you take back control of your day and your future. Every lazy urge has a voice, a quiet one, a familiar one. It says you can do it later. It says 5 more minutes. It says one small break will not hurt. It says you deserve to rest even when you have not earned it. And that voice becomes stronger the more you listen to it. It pushes you away from the things that matter and pulls you into the things that steal your energy. If you want consistency, you must learn to recognize that voice and interrupt it before it leads your decisions. Lazy urges appear in the most normal moments. You wake up and want a few extra minutes, even though you plan to start early. You sit down to work, but the urge to pick up your phone shows up instantly. You plan to eat better, but the urge for comfort food feels louder. You want to study, but the urge to scroll through random videos takes over. These moments do not seem harmful, but they shape your entire identity. Because every time you choose comfort, you teach your mind that short-term pleasure matters more than long-term growth. And the mind remembers what you repeat. Challenging lazy urges does not mean you force yourself through every second of your day. It means you learn how to manage your impulses. It means you stop acting on the first feeling that comes into your head. When you challenge the urge to choose the easy path, you create mental strength. You show yourself that you can override impulses and make decisions based on what you truly want rather than what feels good in the moment. This skill leads to consistency, because consistency is nothing more than a collection of conscious choices repeated until they become natural. To challenge your lazy urges, you must understand how they form. They come from your mind seeking comfort. Comfort feels safe. Comfort feels familiar. Comfort gives instant relief. But comfort has a cost. When you choose it too often, you weaken your ability to follow through. Your energy drops. Your focus becomes fragile. Your discipline disappears. This happens slowly and quietly. That is why many people do not notice the damage until they look back months later and realize they wasted so much time on meaningless habits. When you understand this pattern, you can break it. Every urge lasts only a short time. Most people do not know this. They give in the moment it appears. But if you pause for even 10 seconds, the urge weakens. The mind loses its grip. You regain control. This small gap is where you challenge the urge. When you pause, you ask yourself a simple question. Does this choice move me toward the person I want to be, or away from it? This question brings clarity. It forces your mind to think rather than react. And thinking weakens lazy urges faster than anything else. Once the urge loses strength, you make a different choice. You pick the action that supports your growth. You choose the task instead of the distraction. You choose your goal instead of your comfort. You choose progress instead of escape. And every time you do this, you teach your mind a powerful lesson. You are the one who decides your actions, not your urges. This creates a strong sense of self-control, and self-control is the foundation of consistency. When you can guide your choices, you can guide your life. There will be moments when the urge feels stronger than usual. Maybe after a long day. Maybe when you feel stressed. Maybe when things are not going the way you hoped. These moments are important because they reveal how much control your urges have over you. Do you give in the second you feel tired? Do you stop the moment you feel stressed? Do you escape the moment things feel boring? Strong people rise in those moments. They acknowledge the feeling, but do not let it decide their actions. They take the next step even if the step is small. That is how they build strength. Breaking lazy urges also requires honesty. You must admit the ways you avoid responsibility. You must acknowledge the habits that drain your time. You must face the moments when you turn away from your goals. This honesty is not to judge yourself. It is to understand yourself. When you see your patterns clearly, you can change them. Most people ignore their pattern. They pretend they will change someday without changing anything today. But you are building consistency now, and that requires full awareness of your behaviors. You can challenge lazy urges by preparing your environment. When your space is filled with distractions, your urges grow stronger. When your space supports your goals, your urges weaken. If your phone is always in your hand, you will always feel the urge to check it. If you leave it out of reach, the urge becomes weaker. If your workspace is clean, your mind becomes clearer. If you keep reminders of your goals where you can see them, your focus becomes stronger. Your environment plays a big role in shaping your daily choices. Challenging lazy urges also involves understanding the reward your mind receives. Lazy urges offer instant pleasure, but growth offers long-lasting satisfaction. When you act on your goals, you feel proud. You feel responsible. You feel aligned with the person you want to become. These feelings come after action, not before. That is why lazy urges win so often. They offer comfort first and regret later. Growth offers effort first and pride later. When you choose effort over comfort, you create a life with less regret and more progress. To control your daily choices, you must set clear expectations for yourself. When you do not know what you want to do, your mind wanders and urges take over. But when your day has structure, your mind has direction. You know what needs to be done. You know why it matters. And that sense of purpose reduces the influence of lazy urges. People who feel lost often fall into bad habits. People who feel directed protect their time because they know where they are going. Another part of challenging lazy urges is improving your energy. When you sleep poorly, eat poorly, or stay inactive, the mind becomes weaker. Weak energy leads to weak decision. When you take care of your body, your mind becomes sharper. You handle urges better. You think more clearly. You react more intentionally. This is why consistency requires a healthy mind and a healthy body. They support each other. And when both are strong, your choices become stronger. Your emotions also influence your urges. When you feel stressed or discouraged, your urges rise quickly. You want to escape. You want something to numb the discomfort. This is why emotional awareness matters. When you understand what you feel, you do not let emotions decide your choices. You can feel stressed and still choose discipline. You can feel sad and still choose responsibility. You can feel uncertain and still choose progress. Your feelings do not disappear, but they stop controlling your actions. Let me speak to you directly now. You are stronger than your lazy urges. You may not feel it today. You may feel like your habits have more control than you do, but that is only because you have repeated them for too long. When you challenge them, you begin to take back your power. It will not feel easy at first. Your mind will resist change, but the moment you make one strong decision, you prove something incredible. Change is possible, and from that moment forward, every decision becomes easier. You must understand that your urges are not your identity. They are simply reactions, temporary impulses, signals from your mind trying to keep you comfortable. But you are not here to live a comfortable life. You are here to grow. You are here to rise. You are here to create a life you respect, and that life is shaped by the small daily choices you make. The choices that require strength, the choices that challenge you, the choices that demand consistency. Imagine how your life will change when you no longer act on lazy urges. Imagine waking up and following your plan without hesitation. Imagine completing tasks without fighting yourself. Imagine choosing progress automatically. Imagine feeling in control of your time, your energy, your focus, your habits. That version of you exists, but you reach it only through daily decisions that reflect discipline, not comfort. Every time you challenge a lazy urge, you become more stable. You think more clearly. You feel more confident. You gain more respect for yourself. This internal respect builds consistency. You show up because you trust yourself. You work because you care about your future. You act because you know you are responsible for your life. This is the psychology of growth. One choice at a time. One urge challenged at a time. You are building the kind of discipline that does not disappear when you feel tired. The kind of discipline that stays strong when life gets difficult. The kind that makes you proud when you look in the mirror. It starts right now. Notice your urges. Pause when they appear. Challenge them with awareness. Choose the action that supports your growth. And repeat this every day. This is how you control your daily choices. This is how you challenge your lazy urges. This is how you build the consistency that changes your life.
Chapter 3. Build trust with yourself by doing what you promised. When you make a promise to yourself and actually follow through, you are doing more than completing a task. You are building a relationship with the person who matters most in your life, yourself. Most people think trust is only something you earn from others. They underestimate the power of self-trust. Every day your mind and your emotions are watching. Every action you take toward fulfilling your commitments tells your subconscious who you are. And if you break promises to yourself, your mind begins to doubt you. If you keep promises, your mind begins to respect you. This respect becomes the foundation of confidence, discipline, and consistency. Trusting yourself does not happen overnight. It is earned one decision at a time. Every time you say you will do something and follow through, you are reinforcing a new belief in your mind. You are teaching yourself that your words have weight and that your actions are reliable. This is important because your future depends on your ability to rely on yourself even when no one else is watching.
The world is full of distractions, delays, and excuses. If you cannot trust yourself to do what you say, then no external motivation can sustain your growth. Self-trust becomes the anchor that keeps you steady. Start by noticing the promises you make to yourself. Often they are small things that seem insignificant. You might promise to wake up at a certain time. You might promise to spend 30 minutes reading. You might promise to complete a work task by a certain hour. These small promises are actually the training ground for your mind. Every time you honor a small promise, your brain strengthens the neural pathway for commitment. Every time you ignore it, you weaken that pathway. Consistency is built on these small victories, repeated over and over. Your emotions often fight against your promises. You will feel tired, unmotivated, or bored. You may feel like the promise was unrealistic or that one missed opportunity does not matter. That is the moment your character is revealed. Following through is not about comfort, it is about aligning your actions with your intentions. The mind begins to respect itself when it sees that feelings are secondary to choices. You learn that your actions define who you are, far more than your impulses or moods ever will. Creating trust with yourself also requires clarity. Vague promises lead to failure because your brain cannot interpret them clearly. Saying I will exercise more is abstract and weak. Saying I will walk for 20 minutes at 6 in the morning is specific and actionable. When you are specific, your brain knows what to expect and you reduce the chances of giving yourself an excuse. Clarity transforms intention into action and strengthens the bond you have with yourself. Every completed action reinforces the truth that you can be counted on. The brain also learns from repetition. The more consistently you follow through with your commitments, the more automatic trust becomes. Your mind no longer debates whether you are capable. It accepts that you act on what you say. This automatic trust is powerful because it removes internal friction. When you begin your day knowing you can rely on yourself, you operate with less stress. You do not hesitate or procrastinate. You move efficiently toward your goals. Each promise kept creates momentum. Each broken promise slows you down and adds internal friction. One key aspect of building trust is starting with small, achievable promises. If you try to take on too much too fast, you risk failure and frustration. Start with promises that are realistic but slightly challenging. When you complete them, your mind experiences a sense of accomplishment and reinforces the belief that you are dependable. Over time, gradually increase the size of your commitment. This is how trust grows from small victories into unshakable reliability. Your environment can support or sabotage this process. If you are surrounded by distractions or people who encourage inconsistency, your promises become harder to keep. Set up your environment in a way that reinforces the actions you intend to take. Place reminders in plain sight. Remove temptations that lead to broken commitments. Surround yourself with people who respect their own promises. Environment is not everything, but it supports the habits that make trust inevitable. Accountability is another tool. Telling someone about your commitments adds weight to your promises, but the real power lies within you. Accountability is most effective when combined with a personal habit of reviewing your promises and assessing whether you followed through. Daily reflection strengthens self-awareness and makes your mind more honest with itself. Over time, this builds a deep inner confidence that you can trust yourself without needing external validation. You also have to recognize the cost of broken promises. Every time you fail to follow through with yourself, your confidence erodes. Your mind stores evidence that you cannot be counted on. This is not dramatic or permanent, but it accumulates. Broken promises create hesitation and second-guessing in your decision-making. The longer the pattern continues, the harder it becomes to take decisive action. On the other hand, every promise kept reinforces certainty and decisiveness. You are training your brain to respond with trust rather than doubt. Emotional consistency matters as well. Keeping promises trains not only your mind but also your emotion. When you act according to your word, even when you feel uncomfortable, you teach yourself that discomfort does not control your life. Your emotions become allies rather than obstacles. You learn to feel fear, doubt and fatigue, but not let them dictate your action. Emotional strength grows alongside trust. Together they form the backbone of self-discipline and sustained progress. There will be setbacks. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes circumstances prevent you from keeping a promise despite your best intentions. This is not failure if handled correctly. The key is honesty. If a promise cannot be kept, acknowledge it immediately. Adjust your plan and reset your commitment. Do not lie to yourself or ignore the broken promise. Address it, learn from it, and move forward. How you respond to setbacks is as important as the promises themselves. Trust grows not from perfection, but from resilience. The sense of accomplishment from keeping promises is deeply satisfying. It is different from external rewards because it is internal and lasting. Each time you follow through, you feel capable, grounded and aligned. Your mind registers these experiences and begins to crave consistency. You start to see yourself as a reliable, capable person. This identity shift is more powerful than any temporary motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Trust is permanent because it is built into your actions and reinforced by experience. Every area of life benefits from self-trust. Relationships improve because you show up reliably. Work improves because tasks are completed without excuses. Personal growth accelerates because habits are reinforced and not abandoned. When you trust yourself, your decisions are clearer, your focus sharper, and your ability to act under pressure stronger. Trust creates a foundation upon which every other skill and quality can grow. Building self-trust also strengthens your integrity. Integrity is not only about being honest with others, but also about being honest with yourself. Keeping your word to yourself teaches your mind that your values and actions are aligned. When actions and intentions match, you operate with greater clarity and confidence. This alignment makes decision-making easier, reduces inner conflict, and fosters a deep sense of personal empowerment. One practical method is to write down your promises. This creates a visual record that your mind can reference. Review them daily. Check what has been completed. Plan for what remains. Writing your promises converts vague intentions into concrete actions. Seeing a promise in black and white adds weight and reinforces your commitment. It also provides feedback to strengthen trust over time. Building trust with yourself requires patience. Your mind may resist at first. You may doubt whether you are capable. You may struggle to complete commitments consistently. That is normal. Persistence through these struggles trains the mind to develop reliability. Trust is earned, not given. Every day you show up, every promise you keep, every task you finish adds another brick to the foundation of self-trust. Consistency in small promises compounds over time. A single commitment may feel insignificant today, but repeated daily actions create momentum that cannot be stopped. Your mind begins to see you as someone who follows through. You gain confidence in your ability to handle bigger challenges. The discipline formed in small tasks grows into mastery in larger areas of life. Finally, understand that self-trust is empowering. Once you believe in your ability to follow through, you become unstoppable. Challenges no longer paralyze you. Setbacks do not discourage you. Distractions cannot derail you. You move forward with confidence because you know that your word to yourself is unbreakable. This is how you build a life of consistency, achievement, and personal strength. Keep making promises. Keep completing them. Keep reinforcing your trust. The more you do this, the stronger you become. One day you will look back and realize that everything changed, not because of luck or inspiration, but because you learned to respect yourself, honor your word, and follow through when it mattered most. Self-trust is the cornerstone of every achievement, and once you have it, nothing can shake your consistency.
Chapter 4. Strengthen your discipline by acting before doubts grow. Discipline is not something you wait for or hope will appear when you feel motivated. It is a muscle you develop by taking action before hesitation or doubt has a chance to settle in. Every day you face moments where your mind questions your ability, your voviant flickers, or fear whispers reasons to delay. The person who grows, achieves and builds consistency acts at these moments. They do not wait for confidence to arrive. They act while uncertainty is still fresh, because the longer you wait, the louder your doubts become, and the harder it is to start. Strengthening your discipline begins with understanding that hesitation is the enemy of progress, and action is the antidote. Most people allow doubts to accumulate. They pause too long before beginning a task. That pause may seem harmless at first. It may feel like reflection or preparation. But every extra second of waiting gives your mind a chance to invent reasons not to start. Suddenly what seemed simple now feels complicated. What seemed possible now feels risky. This is the natural progression of hesitation. Discipline does not grow in waiting rooms. It grows in moments of immediate action. It grows when you push your body and mind into doing what is necessary before fear and uncertainty dominate your thinking. Action before doubt requires courage. The first step is acknowledging that your mind will try to stop you. You will feel unease. You will feel a desire to postpone. You will question the importance of what you are about to do. This is normal and unavoidable. Everyone experiences this. The difference between someone who succeeds and someone who stagnates is that successful individuals act regardless. They take the step while the unease is small. They engage in the work before the hesitation becomes convincing. This is how discipline strengthens over time. Every decision to act before doubt teaches your brain that you are reliable and capable, and your confidence grows naturally as a result. Immediate action also combats procrastination. Procrastination is simply doubt given permission to control your schedule. It thrives in idle moments. The longer you wait to start, the easier it becomes to find excuses. You begin to tell yourself that today is not the right day, or that you are too tired, or that conditions must be perfect. Perfection rarely exists. Waiting for it only gives hesitation time to grow. Discipline is built when you start without overthinking, when you begin even if conditions are not ideal, and when you refuse to let small fears dictate your actions. Acting before doubts grow also reshapes your relationship with fear. When you begin a task before fear has a chance to dominate, you experience fear as a signal rather than a barrier. You learn that discomfort is temporary, and that most fears lose their power once confronted with action. Each time you start despite the apprehension, your brain stores a new message. Discomfort does not require avoidance. This rewires your mental patterns and strengthens your ability to remain disciplined even under pressure. Over time, fear becomes a companion to growth rather than a roadblock. Another critical component is preparation without overthinking. Preparation gives you structure and direction, but over-preparation leads to delay. Many people confuse being ready with being ready enough to act. Waiting for complete certainty is a trap. True discipline is acting with sufficient preparation, acknowledging that you will learn more in the process than by waiting indefinitely. Acting first allows you to gain clarity through doing. Every step you take generates momentum that builds more confidence and reduces doubt. This momentum is essential to maintaining consistent behavior. Self-awareness is key in recognizing the moment when hesitation begins. Often the signs are subtle. You feel a slight sense of resistance. You pause to reconsider. Your energy dips. Your focus wavers. These are the triggers of doubt. The strongest individuals catch these moments early and act immediately. They know that discipline is a habit reinforced by swift action. Every hesitation ignored is an opportunity lost to strengthen the mental muscle of self-control. Every prompt action taken reinforces a pattern of dependability with yourself. You can also leverage small initial actions to overcome larger fears. Breaking a daunting task into one small first step can neutralize doubt before it escalates. The first movement, the first decision, is the spark that ignites momentum. Once you act, your brain perceives possibility. The task loses some of its intimidation. Action creates clarity where hesitation breeds confusion. Discipline is built in these small but consistent steps. Starting is often the hardest part. Once you begin, the energy to continue naturally grows. Acting before doubts grow also strengthens your internal accountability. You are training yourself to trust your ability to manage your own decisions and follow through. When you act immediately, you reinforce a message to yourself. Your word is reliable. Your choices matter, and your intentions have weight. Internal accountability reduces dependency on external validation. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you it is time to act. You recognize that you are responsible for your growth and your results. This responsibility creates an inner drive that multiplies discipline over time. Discipline also flourishes when you reflect on the consequences of delayed action. Hesitation often costs more than immediate effort. Opportunities shrink, energy dissipates, motivation fades. When you understand that every delay strengthens the influence of doubt and weakens your confidence, action becomes easier. You begin to act proactively rather than reactively. You do not wait to feel like it. You do not allow hesitation to dictate your schedule. Instead, you create momentum by choosing to engage early, consistently, and decisively. It is important to note that acting before doubt does not mean recklessness. It does not mean ignoring preparation or ignoring intelligence. It means balancing awareness with initiative. You consider your circumstances, plan your approach, and then act before hesitation can manipulate your mind. Discipline grows in this space where calculated action overrides indecision. You learn to trust yourself to handle tasks regardless of initial discomfort or uncertainty. This trust strengthens your self-reliance and builds consistency in all areas of life. Energy management also plays a role. Doubts often feel heavier when you are exhausted or distracted. Maintaining physical energy, mental clarity, and emotional balance makes it easier to act before hesitation takes over. Regular sleep, nutrition, movement, and mental focus support the discipline required to respond immediately. Your body and mind reinforce each other. When both are ready, action becomes more natural, and doubt has less power. Discipline is amplified when you operate in a state of readiness, rather than depletion. Another strategy is to eliminate unnecessary choices that encourage delay. Decision fatigue strengthens doubt. Reduce irrelevant options and simplify your path to action. By structuring your day and eliminating distractions, you allow your brain to act quickly. The fewer obstacles, the faster you can respond before doubt escalates. Your focus becomes sharper, your resolve stronger, and your ability to follow through reinforced. Every prompt action compounds into a pattern of reliability and effectiveness. Immediate action also trains your emotional resilience. When you consistently act before hesitation grows, you learn to face discomfort without avoiding it. You experience temporary tension, but discover that it rarely lasts long. Your mind associates effort with reward. Doubt loses its emotional grip. You build the confidence to make decisions under uncertainty, which is the hallmark of disciplined individuals.
Emotional control becomes intertwined with habitual action, making it increasingly difficult for hesitation to dominate. Reflecting on your successes reinforces the habit of early action. Every time you act before doubt overtakes you, review the results. Notice how the task became easier once started, how momentum built naturally, and how confidence increased. Your brain begins to expect positive outcomes from prompt action, making future hesitation less compelling. This reinforcement solidifies discipline as a self-sustaining cycle: act, succeed, reinforce, repeat. Discipline built this way becomes transferable to all areas of life. Whether it is your work, relationships, health, or personal goals, the habit of acting before hesitation sets the tone for every challenge. You no longer wait to feel motivated. You no longer allow uncertainty to paralyze progress. Instead, you step forward immediately, turning intention into action and action into results. The skill of early engagement becomes a defining characteristic of your life. Over time, acting before doubts develops foresight. You begin to anticipate moments when hesitation may appear. You recognize the triggers and prepare to respond swiftly. This predictive awareness allows you to maintain consistency, even in difficult circumstances. You are no longer at the mercy of your mind's fleeting uncertainty. Instead, you lead your mind with decisive behavior, reinforcing discipline and strengthening the neural patterns associated with immediate action. Your character is also shaped through this practice. Individuals who act before hesitation define themselves through capability and courage. They see themselves as doers. Their identity becomes aligned with action, resilience, and reliability. This identity then influences future behavior, creating a reinforcing loop where disciplined action becomes second nature. You become the person who does not wait for motivation, who overcomes fear with early engagement, and who consistently turns intention into results. Small victories compound. Starting a task immediately builds momentum that propels you through the day. Each completed step strengthens confidence, reduces procrastination, and reinforces the neural pathways associated with decisive action. The brain begins to expect initiation rather than hesitation, creating a natural rhythm of productivity. Discipline is no longer something you fight for. It becomes a natural outcome of responding promptly and persistently. Finally, remember that strength is built incrementally. You do not need massive acts of courage every time. You need repeated actions taken at the first sign of hesitation. The simple decision to start immediately, over and over, shapes your mind, trains your focus, and ingrains discipline as an automatic response. Over time, this consistency becomes unshakable. Your mind, body, and habits align to create a life defined by action, growth, and achievement. Every moment you hesitate is a moment where doubt grows stronger. Every moment you act immediately is a moment where discipline is reinforced. Choose action. Choose momentum. Choose to respond before hesitation takes control. Train your mind daily. Strengthen your resolve. Act now. Build a life where consistency, confidence, and achievement flow naturally from the habit of immediate action. This is how discipline grows, how results compound, and how you become the person capable of completing every task, achieving every goal, and living a life defined by your deliberate choices.
Chapter 5. Create steady progress by choosing effort over easy escapes. Life rewards effort more than convenience. Every day, you face choices that test whether you will take the path of least resistance or push yourself toward real progress. Easy escapes are everywhere. They are tempting, immediate, and comfortable. Watching another video, scrolling through your phone, choosing rest over work, or avoiding a challenge feels harmless at first. But when you repeatedly choose the easy way, it quietly becomes your habit. Your comfort zone grows, and your potential shrinks. True growth Long-term success and personal transformation come from choosing effort instead of escape, day after day, moment after moment. This is how steady progress is built. Choosing effort over easy escapes begins with awareness. Most people do not realize how often they avoid difficulty. They think skipping a task, putting off responsibility, or distracting themselves is harmless. But every time you choose comfort over effort, your mind records it as the default choice. You train yourself to settle for less than your potential. Every task ignored or delayed accumulates. Each escape weakens your focus, determination, and resilience. Awareness of these moments is the first step to interrupting them. You cannot choose effort if you do not notice when you are choosing avoidance. Effort is uncomfortable. It requires energy, focus, and sometimes sacrifice. Easy escapes feel good because they relieve immediate tension or boredom. Choosing effort demands that you act in spite of what feels natural. The moment you take on the challenge, push through the resistance, and stay committed, your mind adapts. You start to see difficulty not as a threat, but as a sign of growth. This psychological shift is crucial. Your brain learns to value achievement over comfort, and over time, effort becomes rewarding in its own right. A practical way to choose effort is to break tasks into manageable actions. Large goals can feel overwhelming, which strengthens the desire to escape. When a task seems too big, the mind looks for any way out. But small, deliberate steps make it easier to act. Each step builds momentum. You take the first action, then the next, and progress becomes visible. Momentum itself encourages effort because you see results from your actions. You feel your capabilities increasing, which reduces the lure of avoidance. Progress, even if small, strengthens the habit of choosing effort. Effort also develops resilience. Every time you resist the easy escape, you prove to yourself that you can handle difficulty. This builds confidence in your abilities and reinforces your commitment to growth. People who constantly take the easy way lose resilience because their minds never practice overcoming obstacles. Choosing effort teaches you that discomfort is temporary, but achievement is lasting. You train yourself to endure short-term difficulty for long-term reward. This understanding becomes a cornerstone of discipline and consistency. Your environment influences whether you choose effort or escape. If you surround yourself with distractions, comfort, and constant entertainment, the easy path will dominate. If your space is structured, focused, and aligned with your goals, effort becomes the natural choice. Environment does not create willpower, but it reduces unnecessary friction, making it easier to act intentionally. Simple changes like clearing clutter, limiting distractions, and setting up visible reminders of your goals make it easier to take consistent action. Structure your surroundings to support effort rather than enable escape. Immediate action reinforces effort. Waiting for motivation or inspiration is a trap because both are fleeting. The easiest moment to avoid effort is the moment before you start. Acting immediately, even if the effort feels small or imperfect, trains your mind to prioritize action over avoidance. Each completed step sends a signal to your subconscious that you are reliable, capable, and committed. Your brain begins to expect effort instead of delay. The habit of acting promptly in challenging moments strengthens self-discipline and steadily pushes you forward. Effort requires emotional management. Avoidance often feels like relief, but it is temporary. Facing difficulty initially creates tension, but that tension decreases as you engage. Emotions adapt when you consistently choose action over avoidance. Fear, doubt, or discomfort lose power when you consistently confront them. You experience the satisfaction of accomplishment, which reinforces the behavior. Over time, choosing effort over escape becomes a natural response, not a battle against your feelings. Emotional adaptation is essential for long-term consistency. Long-term progress is rarely dramatic. Most achievements are the result of small, consistent actions stacked over time. Choosing effort repeatedly, even in simple daily tasks, compounds into meaningful results. Reading a few pages, exercising for 10 minutes, or finishing a work task each day may feel insignificant in isolation, but these actions accumulate. Choosing the harder path consistently reshapes your skills, habits, and mindset. Easy escapes may provide comfort now, but they delay the growth that comes from steady effort. Discipline and accountability reinforce effort. When you track your actions, review your commitments, and hold yourself responsible for results, the habit of choosing effort strengthens. Reflection allows you to see the consequences of easy escapes and appreciate the progress made through consistent effort. Accountability does not have to involve others. It can be as simple as noting your actions daily or setting clear intentions. Awareness and evaluation create feedback loops that reinforce the value of effort over avoidance. Effort also teaches patience. Many people avoid challenges because they expect immediate results. The mind craves quick gratification and feels frustrated when effort does not yield instant rewards. Choosing effort requires understanding that growth is incremental. You practice patience by committing to small actions over time and trusting the process. Gradually, your skills improve, your confidence grows, and your progress becomes visible. Patience and effort together build a solid foundation for long-term achievement. You will face moments when the easy escape seems irresistible. It may feel like rest, distraction, or indulgence. These moments test your willpower and your commitment to your goals. Recognizing that these moments are temporary is crucial. The discomfort of effort is fleeting. The satisfaction of completion endures. Every time you resist temptation and act intentionally, you strengthen your mental resolve. Each choice to take the harder path reinforces your identity as someone who prioritizes growth over comfort. Success is not about occasional bursts of effort, but about consistent choices. The person who advances steadily chooses effort every day, even when it feels inconvenient. Choosing effort is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is sometimes monotonous and slow, but this monotony is deceptive because each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to the larger journey. The habit of sustained effort becomes a defining characteristic of your personality and your life. Building a mindset that favors effort requires intentional focus. Remind yourself why your goals matter. Visualize the long-term benefits of your actions. When you keep your purpose clear, the choice between effort and escape becomes easier. Your brain prioritizes what is meaningful. Effort aligns with values, while easy escapes drift toward transient pleasure. Mindful reflection on purpose strengthens motivation and reduces the emotional appeal of avoidance. Every decision to choose effort changes how you see yourself. You begin to recognize that you are capable of pushing through discomfort, completing tasks, and achieving meaningful progress. Your identity shifts from someone who avoids difficulty to someone who acts intentionally. This shift reinforces confidence, self-respect, and personal integrity. Choosing effort is not only about accomplishing tasks, it is about shaping who you are and how you respond to life. Effort also cultivates mastery. Repeated action builds skill, knowledge, and experience. Avoidance prevents growth because skills develop only through engagement. The longer you consistently act, the more competent you become. This competence reduces fear and doubt in future endeavors. Choosing effort transforms uncertainty into skill, hesitation into capability, and discomfort into confidence. Progress accelerates as your abilities expand, reinforcing the habit of acting rather than escaping. Energy management complements effort. Physical, mental, and emotional energy affect your capacity to resist escape. Maintaining regular sleep, nutrition, and movement supports sustained effort. When your body and mind are prepared, resisting shortcuts becomes easier. Energy amplifies focus, decision-making,
and follow through. Choosing effort consistently becomes more natural when you prioritize your well-being alongside your commitments. Recognizing the long-term cost of easy escapes is vital. Immediate comfort feels rewarding, but often results in missed opportunities, delayed goals, and stagnant growth. Reflection on past experiences can strengthen your commitment to effort. The mind begins to associate avoidance with regret and effort with satisfaction. This mental association reinforces the choice to act intentionally and discourages repeated indulgence in short-term comfort. Persistence strengthens habit. Every time you choose effort over an easy escape, you reinforce your ability to act intentionally. Over time, the brain expects action instead of avoidance. The more often you choose effort, the more automatic it becomes. Momentum develops, making each subsequent act easier and more natural. Consistent application of this principle transforms your daily behavior and gradually reshapes your life. Effort also builds resilience for unexpected challenges. When you habitually confront difficulty, your mind learns to navigate discomfort without fear. You become adaptable, capable, and prepared for higher levels of responsibility and complexity. Avoiding effort, in contrast, limits your ability to handle challenges and diminishes confidence. Steady application of intentional action trains your mind to embrace challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Reflection solidifies progress. Regularly reviewing your choices highlights where you acted intentionally and where you allowed escape. Celebrate your efforts and analyze patterns of avoidance. Reflection reinforces learning, helps adjust strategies, and strengthens mental pathways that prioritize effort. The combination of action and reflection accelerates growth and builds consistent momentum. Ultimately, choosing effort over easy escapes defines your trajectory. Your life is shaped less by external circumstances and more by the decisions you make daily. Each act of intentional effort contributes to skills, confidence, and accomplishment. Each act of avoidance delays progress and erodes potential. Steady progress emerges from cumulative choices that prioritize growth over comfort. Effort becomes a habit, a mindset, and an identity. The person who achieves consistently is not the one who avoids discomfort, but the one who embraces it. They understand that every small step taken intentionally moves them closer to their goals. Discomfort signals that you are leaving your comfort zone and expanding your capacity. Choosing effort in these moments accelerates growth and transforms challenges into achievements. Your mindset shifts, your habits solidify, and your confidence compounds. Effort over escape is also a mental strategy. The more often you engage intentionally, the fewer opportunities doubt or fear has to interfere. Procrastination diminishes, momentum increases, and confidence grows. Repetition of deliberate action trains your mind to prefer growth over comfort, which is the essence of personal development. You become proactive, decisive, and resilient. Every day is a chance to reinforce this principle. Simple decisions, small challenges, and repeated effort create a life defined by progress rather than avoidance. Choose effort when it is easier to escape. Take responsibility for your action. Push through discomfort with purpose. Each choice compounds into consistent growth. Each day strengthens your character. Over time, the accumulation of effort creates unstoppable momentum. When you consistently choose effort over easy escapes, your entire life transforms. Your habits improve, your skills increase, and your confidence solidifies. You face challenges with readiness and respond to opportunities with clarity. Your identity shifts from passive observer to active creator. Steady progress is no longer a concept, but a lived experience. Effort becomes automatic, escapes diminish, and your potential expands exponentially. Choosing effort is not temporary. It is a lifelong commitment to acting with intention, resisting the temptation of comfort,
and pursuing steady improvement. Each act reinforces your discipline, strengthens your mind, and deepens your trust in yourself. The accumulation of consistent effort over time results in transformation, mastery, and fulfillment. Your life becomes a reflection of your choices, and choosing effort becomes the most powerful habit you can cultivate.
Chapter 6. Reset your focus by removing habits that drain your energy. Your focus is the most valuable resource you have, yet most people allow it to be stolen by habits that drain energy and scatter attention. Every day, there are countless small actions that pull you away from your goals. Checking your phone endlessly, overthinking decisions, consuming too much negative content, skipping sleep or postponing meaningful work. These habits seem harmless individually, but collectively they fragment your attention, exhaust your willpower, and slow progress. To regain control, to sharpen your focus, and to build momentum in your life, you must actively identify and remove the behaviors that drain your energy. Without this step, even the strongest intentions will falter. The first part of regaining focus is awareness. Many people move through their days unaware of what consumes their energy. They follow routines that feel normal, but are actually unproductive. Recognizing which habits sap your energy requires honest observation. Take a moment to track your daily actions. Notice when your mind feels tired, scattered, or distracted. Identify patterns where your energy dips without a clear reason. These moments reveal the hidden habits that prevent you from acting consistently and making progress. Awareness allows you to intervene before these habits control your day. Energy-draining habits often masquerade as necessary or harmless activities. For example, scrolling social media can feel like relaxation, but it fragments attention and reduces mental clarity. Overchecking emails or notifications gives a false sense of productivity, but leaves your mind fragmented. Indulging in snacks, caffeine, or late-night screen time provides temporary relief, but depletes long-term energy. Each habit may feel small and inconsequential, but combined they create a daily pattern that undermines focus and slows achievement. To reset focus, you must be willing to critically examine and confront these habits. Next, you must prioritize habits that add energy and eliminate those that take it away. This requires decision-making and intentional action. Identify the activities that leave you feeling more alert, more motivated, and more capable. They might include reading, exercising, meditating, planning, or engaging in meaningful work. Contrast these with the behaviors that leave you feeling drained, distracted, or frustrated. Energy is a finite resource, and the way you use it shapes your productivity, consistency, and success. Choosing activities that replenish energy is as important as removing those that consume it. The process of removing habits requires courage and consistency. Letting go of behaviors that have become ingrained is uncomfortable. Your mind may resist, providing excuses for why you need them or why it is too hard to change. This resistance is normal. What separates progress from stagnation is the ability to act despite discomfort. Each habit you remove creates more mental clarity, frees attention for meaningful work, and builds momentum toward your goals. It is a practice of discipline, not punishment. You are not depriving yourself, you are reclaiming control over your energy and focus. Start small. Attempting to eliminate every energy-draining habit at once often leads to failure. Choose one behavior to remove initially and commit to doing so consistently for a set period. For example, you might limit social media to a specific time or replace late-night screen time with reading. Each successful removal strengthens self-control and sets the foundation for tackling larger patterns. Small, repeated victories compound into significant transformation over time. Your mind begins to associate action with energy and clarity rather than distraction and depletion. Reflection enhances this process.
At the end of each day, review which habits drained your energy and which supported it. Reflecting helps you see patterns and strengthens your ability to make intentional choices. Over time, this awareness becomes automatic. You start to naturally gravitate toward behaviors that sustain focus and productivity. Reflection also allows you to adjust your strategy and improve your approach to energy management. The combination of awareness, reflection, and action accelerates your progress. Physical energy directly affects mental focus. Neglecting sleep, nutrition, and movement makes focus more difficult to sustain. When your body is tired or poorly fueled, the mind cannot maintain attention for long periods. Rest, exercise, and proper nutrition increase your capacity for sustained effort. You become more resilient to distraction and more capable of maintaining disciplined habits. Removing habits that drain energy must include attention to your physical well-being, because energy flows from the body to the mind. Emotional energy also matters. Habits that provoke unnecessary stress, worry, or negative self-talk reduce focus. Repeated exposure to toxic content, unhealthy relationships, or unresolved conflict consumes attention and mental resources. Removing these influences allows your mind to concentrate on what is important. Emotional clarity amplifies cognitive performance. By managing what you expose yourself to emotionally, you reinforce mental focus and reduce the likelihood of distraction or avoidance. Decision fatigue is another hidden drain on focus. Every unnecessary choice consumes mental energy, leaving less available for tasks that matter. Simplifying routines, automating decisions, and eliminating trivial choices preserves attention for critical work. Reducing the cognitive load frees your mind to concentrate on meaningful action. Removing habits that fragment your energy includes minimizing repetitive, unproductive choices and streamlining your daily schedule. Time management is closely linked to energy management. Many energy-draining habits waste time under the guise of productivity. Mindlessly checking emails, jumping between tasks, or multitasking reduces your capacity to complete important work. A focused schedule allows you to allocate attention to high-value activities. Choosing effortful, intentional work over distractions aligns your energy with your goals. You train your mind to expect sustained attention rather than fragmented effort. This alignment is critical for achieving steady progress. Accountability supports energy management. Share your goals and your commitment to remove draining habits with someone you respect. Having someone aware of your intentions creates external reinforcement. The added awareness increases the likelihood that you will act in alignment with your intentions. Accountability combined with self-awareness multiplies your capacity to eliminate habits that fragment energy and focus. Mindset plays a central role. Your perception of effort and distraction affects your choices. If you view energy-draining habits as inevitable or harmless, they will continue to dominate. Reframe your thinking to see them as obstacles to progress. Recognize that eliminating them is not deprivation, but empowerment. Your mind begins to associate energy preservation with freedom, control, and the ability to perform at your best. This shift in perception reinforces action and creates a sustainable focus on meaningful work. Immediate intervention strengthens habits. When you notice an energy-draining behavior beginning, interrupt it immediately. For example, if you pick up your phone to scroll aimlessly, pause and redirect toward a productive task. Early intervention prevents the behavior from escalating and becoming a pattern. Your mind learns that you are in control and that energy is a resource you protect. Each interruption reinforces self-discipline and gradually rewires habitual responses to temptation. Replacing old habits with energizing alternatives is more effective than simple removal. Instead of just avoiding distractions, replace them with purposeful actions that maintain mental clarity.
For example, swap mindless scrolling with focused reading, replace binge watching with intentional learning, or trade late-night social media for journaling. Replacement habits occupy attention while reinforcing positive patterns. This approach reduces resistance and makes sustained change more achievable. Consistency is critical. Removing energy-draining habits once or twice is insufficient. Your brain must repeatedly experience the benefits of focused, intentional behavior. Every day you consciously remove distractions, maintain mental clarity, and allocate attention to meaningful work. Your capacity for focus grows. Habits become automatic. Attention flows naturally to high-value tasks. Discipline strengthens, and productivity compounds over time. Stepping back periodically is also necessary. Regular breaks from effort prevent burnout and sustain energy. However, breaks should be restorative, not habitual escapes. Mindful rest, short walks, or meditation replenish energy without triggering avoidance. Energy management requires balance, eliminating draining habits while ensuring replenishment through constructive activity. This approach prevents fatigue and supports long-term consistency. Removing energy-draining habits also improves decision quality. A mind scattered by distraction makes poor choices. When you consistently protect focus, your thinking becomes sharper, faster, and more accurate. You respond effectively to challenges, prioritize tasks correctly, and act with confidence. Energy alignment enhances not only productivity but also judgment, creativity, and problem-solving ability. Every removed habit reinforces identity. When you act intentionally to protect your focus, your mind begins to see you as someone who values clarity, discipline, and progress. Identity drives behavior more than willpower alone. By shaping habits that support mental energy, you reinforce a self-image aligned with growth and achievement. This identity strengthens over time, making consistent focus a natural part of your life. Momentum grows as energy-draining habits diminish. Each successful removal adds mental capacity for meaningful action. Progress becomes easier to sustain. Your day flows more efficiently. Tasks that once felt burdensome feel manageable. Confidence in your ability to focus and follow through grows. The compound effect of removing distractions and preserving energy is substantial, transforming productivity and life satisfaction. Account for subtle energy drains as well. Not all distractions are obvious. Repetitive negative thinking, unresolved anxiety, or indecision silently consume attention. Recognizing and addressing these mental habits is as important as eliminating external distraction. Mindfulness, journaling, and reflection help uncover hidden energy drains, creating a more complete reset of focus. Finally, protecting focus is a daily commitment. Every day, habits must be evaluated, distractions managed, and attention directed toward meaningful action. The process is continuous, but each step strengthens your ability to act with purpose, clarity, and energy. By removing what drains you and intentionally choosing what sustains you, your mind becomes a powerful tool for consistent progress. Energy management is not optional for success, it is essential. Resetting your focus transforms your life. When distractions are eliminated and energy is protected, your capacity to act with intention, complete tasks, and achieve goals multiplies. Steady progress becomes a natural outcome. Each day of mindful attention builds momentum. Habits align with purpose. Energy flows toward meaningful work. Your mind becomes sharper, your actions more deliberate, and your potential unlocked. The life you want emerges as a direct result of your commitment to remove what drains you and protect what fuels your growth.
Chapter 7. Stop delaying goals by taking action the moment you think. Goals exist in your mind until you act on them. Thinking about what you want to achieve is important, but thought alone does not produce results. Every delay between thought and action gives your mind time to doubt, procrastinate, or find excuses. The moment you have an idea or a goal, taking action immediately is what separates progress from stagnation. Success is built on responsiveness. Ideas without execution remain dreams, and dreams unexecuted over time fade into regret. The key to achieving goals consistently is acting the instant you recognize what needs to be done. No hesitation, no overthinking, no waiting for the perfect moment. Many people convince themselves that delay is harmless. They plan endlessly, research excessively, or wait for ideal conditions. The truth is, the longer you wait, the more obstacles your mind invents. Fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt grow stronger with every passing moment. Tasks that initially seemed manageable suddenly feel overwhelming. Opportunities that appeared clear begin to blur. Taking action the moment you think eliminates the chance for these mental barriers to gain a foothold. Immediate action prevents hesitation from becoming a habit. Immediate action creates momentum. When you respond to your goals as soon as they enter your mind, you build a flow of energy that propels you forward. The first movement breaks inertia, and inertia is one of the greatest obstacles to achievement. Once you begin, your mind focuses, your body engages, and opportunities multiply. Momentum compounds. Every small step taken instantly reinforces your confidence, making the next step easier. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start, and the easier it becomes to justify postponement. Acting immediately also sharpens clarity. When you delay, your mind ruminates, overanalyzes, and second-guesses. Thoughts become clouded by worry and doubt. Immediate action clarifies intention. Once you act, you gain feedback, learn what works, and adjust your strategy. Action illuminates reality. It transforms abstract goals into concrete steps. Every moment you move promptly allows you to learn faster, correct errors sooner, and see progress clearly. Inaction only prolongs uncertainty. The habit of immediate action trains your discipline. Each time you act without hesitation, you reinforce the belief that your word matters, that your ideas have value, and that you can rely on yourself to follow through. Self-trust grows every time you convert thought into action. Delaying weakens this trust because it signals to your mind that your intentions are optional rather than essential. The person who consistently acts promptly develops a mental structure built on reliability and personal authority. Time sensitivity is another critical reason to act immediately. Opportunities often exist for a limited window. Waiting can result in missed chances, lost advantages, or delayed success. Immediate action ensures you capitalize on possibilities before they disappear. Speed in execution is not about rushing recklessly, it is about respecting the value of the moment. Acting promptly allows you to engage with your goals while conditions are favorable and while your energy and motivation are aligned with purpose. One practical approach is to break ideas into the smallest possible first step and act on it immediately. Thinking about a goal may seem overwhelming, but the first tiny action is almost always doable. Sending a message, writing a note, starting a draft, making a call, or clearing one small task generates momentum and removes the psychological barrier of delay. Micro-actions trigger momentum and make follow-through easier. Starting small but starting now is more effective than planning extensively and waiting for readiness. Immediate action strengthens resilience. You experience discomfort in acting without complete certainty. Your mind resists unfamiliar effort, and doubt arises. Facing that discomfort regularly trains your brain to tolerate uncertainty. You become capable of acting decisively in situations where waiting would normally be easier.
Resilience grows because you are proving repeatedly that action precedes fear, not the other way around. Each instance reinforces your ability to persist, adapt, and achieve. Your environment can either support or hinder immediate action. Distractions, clutter, and interruptions provide excuses for delay. Structuring your space to enable quick response removes friction between thought and execution. A clear desk, a ready workspace, and minimal interruptions make it easier to act when an idea surfaces. Every environmental adjustment reduces the opportunity for procrastination and strengthens your responsiveness to your goals. Mental clarity is enhanced by acting promptly. When you delay, your mind accumulates indecision, doubts, and worries. Immediate action clears mental clutter. Once you begin, your attention shifts from speculation to execution. Your brain thrives on results. Action reinforces certainty, reduces stress, and builds confidence. Your focus becomes sharper, energy increases, and tasks that once seemed complicated now feel manageable. Taking the first step immediately primes the mind for continuous progress. Immediate action is also about accountability. Every time you act right away, you demonstrate to yourself that you are capable, reliable, and serious about your commitments. Delaying sends the opposite message, that intentions are negotiable and that you cannot trust your follow-through. Prompt execution aligns your actions with your values. You begin to see yourself as someone who honors ideas, respects opportunities, and takes responsibility for progress. Accountability begins internally through consistent action. Emotions play a significant role in why people delay. Fear, self-doubt, or the desire for comfort can freeze decision-making. Acting the moment you think overcomes emotional resistance. Emotions are temporary. Momentum is permanent. The instant you convert thought to action, you prevent anxiety and hesitation from taking control. Each successful early action trains emotional discipline and reduces the hold of negative feelings over future behavior. Immediate action reinforces learning. Theoretical planning without execution provides minimal growth. Action generates experience, teaches lessons, and reveals obstacles. Feedback loops are created only through doing, not thinking. Each time you act on a goal, as soon as it arises, you gain insight faster, improve your decision-making, and refine your strategy. Learning accelerates when action precedes hesitation, rather than waiting for perfect understanding before you start. Delaying also erodes motivation. Motivation is strongest at the moment of conception, when the thought of a goal excites you. Every minute of inaction diminishes that energy. Acting immediately captures the peak of your drive. If you wait, motivation wanes, distractions intervene, and the initial excitement dissipates. Prompt action harnesses energy at its highest point, translating inspiration into tangible progress. Developing the habit of acting immediately requires consistency. You must train yourself to respond the instant a goal or idea rises, regardless of how small it may seem. Repetition is key. Every day presents opportunities to practice this skill, whether through personal tasks, professional projects, or daily responsibilities. Each act of immediate action compounds over time, strengthening your reliability, efficiency, and ability to achieve goals. Account for mistakes as part of the process. Acting immediately does not guarantee perfection. You will encounter errors, missteps, or unexpected challenges. The difference is that you gain feedback sooner, adjust faster, and continue forward. Delay postpones learning, increases anxiety, and can make problems feel insurmountable. Acting quickly allows you to solve challenges while energy is high and the mind is alert. Mistakes are valuable only if you act. Delay diminishes their utility. Immediate action builds confidence. The brain recognizes patterns of responsiveness.
Every time you follow through without hesitation, your mind records competence and capability. Over time, this pattern becomes automatic. You start to trust your ability to manage tasks, pursue goals, and handle challenges without prolonged deliberation. Confidence grows because action demonstrates ability. Hesitation teaches doubt, while responsiveness teaches mastery. Prioritization enhances the power of immediate action. Not every thought requires execution, but recognizing which ideas directly impact your goals allows you to act efficiently. Combine immediacy with discernment. Decide quickly which actions are meaningful and act without delay. Avoiding trivial distractions ensures that energy is devoted to high-value tasks. Immediate action, coupled with clear prioritization, maximizes progress and prevents wasted effort. Taking action the moment you think also strengthens mental discipline. The mind becomes conditioned to respond rather than resist. Procrastination loses its grip. Overthinking is replaced by decisive behavior. Self-trust deepens because your word to yourself consistently aligns with your action. Discipline develops naturally as your brain experiences repeated success through prompt execution. The cumulative effect of immediate action is transformative. Goals that once felt distant become attainable. Tasks that seemed overwhelming shrink in size through consistent early steps. Momentum builds, confidence grows, and focus sharpens. Your daily choices reinforce a pattern of responsiveness that propels you forward. The habit of acting without delay compounds into significant progress over weeks, months, and years. Immediate action also strengthens resilience under pressure. Challenges, setbacks, and unexpected circumstances are less intimidating when you are accustomed to acting promptly. You learn to trust your instincts, respond quickly, and adapt effectively. This agility becomes a core component of success. Hesitation, in contrast, amplifies uncertainty, stress, and missed opportunities. Acting immediately turns challenges into manageable experiences. Finally, recognize that ideas and goals have power only when executed. Thought without action is potential unfulfilled. Every goal you delay is a goal you risk losing. Each moment of hesitation allows excuses, fear, or distraction to gain control. By acting immediately, you claim ownership of your progress, harness momentum, and strengthen the habit of turning intention into reality. Your life becomes a reflection of responsiveness, decisiveness, and consistent achievement. Every instant counts. The moment you think of a goal is the moment to act. Waiting diminishes energy, focus, and potential. Acting immediately captures clarity, momentum, and motivation. Over time, responsiveness compounds into mastery. The ability to take action, the instant thought arises, separates those who accomplish from those who merely dream. Stop delaying, respond now. Turn ideas into results, and watch progress unfold relentlessly.
Chapter 8. Shape your behavior by repeating small wins every day. Success is not created in massive leaps. It is built in small, consistent steps taken every day. The power of small wins lies in their ability to shape behavior over time. Every single action that moves you forward, no matter how minor it seems, sends a signal to your brain that you are capable, reliable, and committed. This signal reinforces patterns of action, strengthens discipline, and gradually transforms your behavior into a version of yourself that consistently achieves. Repeating small wins is the foundation of habit formation, personal growth, and long-term accomplishment. The first principle of leveraging small wins is understanding that consistency outweighs intensity. A massive effort one day followed by weeks of inaction produces less growth than daily small actions. Each day you take deliberate steps toward your goals, you are rewiring your mind, teaching it to value effort, and creating momentum. The brain loves repetition. It recognizes patterns and strengthens neural pathways associated with action. Small wins are a method to program your mind for success without overwhelming it. Small wins also provide immediate feedback. When you complete a task, no matter how minor, your brain experiences a sense of accomplishment. This reinforces motivation and increases your likelihood of repeating the behavior. Momentum grows not from a single large achievement, but from the accumulation of daily victories. Each win, no matter how subtle, compounds over time, creating a foundation for larger successes. The more frequently you experience progress, the more natural it becomes to act with intention each day. Emotional reinforcement is another key element. Small wins build confidence. Often people underestimate themselves because they focus on distant or monumental goals. Achieving something small demonstrates capability and builds self-trust. Over time, these repeated confirmations of competence reshape self-perception. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, who achieves consistently, and who can handle increasingly challenging tasks. Behavior aligns with this identity naturally. The process starts by defining manageable actions that can be accomplished daily. These actions should be small enough to be feasible but meaningful enough to advance your objectives. For example, writing a single page, completing one focused task, exercising for 10 minutes, or reading a chapter. Each completed task signals progress and reinforces the habit loop. The brain begins to expect and enjoy this rhythm of achievement, making consistency easier to sustain. Accountability strengthens the impact of small wins. Recording actions, tracking progress, or sharing achievements with a trusted individual ensures that the behavior is reinforced. Accountability increases adherence to daily commitments because the mind associates completion with responsibility and self-respect. You learn to prioritize actions, not only for external results, but also for internal validation. Repetition combined with accountability amplifies behavior shaping. Small wins also reduce the intimidation factor of large goals. Monumental objectives can feel overwhelming and trigger avoidance or procrastination. By breaking these goals into incremental steps, you focus on immediate actions rather than distant outcomes. Each small win creates tangible evidence of progress, reducing fear and building momentum. Over time, what once seemed daunting becomes manageable, and behavior shifts naturally toward consistent achievement. Immediate reinforcement is critical. After completing each small task, acknowledge it, recognize that it matters. Do not underestimate the psychological impact of celebrating or noticing small victories. Positive reinforcement strengthens neural pathways, increases dopamine response, and encourages repetition. The brain begins to associate effort with reward, making it easier to continue acting deliberately. Each acknowledged win becomes a building block for behavior transformation. Consistency, not perfection, drives results. Small wins emphasize action over flawless execution. Attempting perfection often delays progress and creates frustration. Completing a task imperfectly but regularly reinforces habit formation and gradually increases competence. The repeated process of action, adjustment, and improvement solidifies new behavior more effectively than sporadic moments of ideal performance. Repetition entrenches behavior even when conditions are not perfect. Small wins also cultivate discipline. Daily action, repeated consistently, strengthens willpower and internal accountability. The brain learns that following through is expected, not optional. You internalize self-reliance and reduce dependence on motivation or external prompts. Over time, action becomes automatic, requiring less conscious effort. Discipline emerges naturally as a byproduct of repeated daily victories. Environment plays a crucial role.
Habits form faster when supported by surroundings that encourage small wins. Remove distractions, prepare tools, and structure routines to facilitate consistent action. When your environment aligns with your goals, the friction of starting tasks decreases. You act more readily, reinforce patterns of success, and strengthen behavior effortlessly. Small wins compound faster when the context supports their repetition. Reflection enhances the impact of daily achievements. At the end of each day, review what you accomplished, recognize patterns, identify areas for improvement, and reaffirm your commitment. Reflection reinforces learning and solidifies behavior change. Your brain begins to understand cause and effect between action and progress. This conscious review supports the subconscious integration of new behaviors. Small wins also train resilience. Consistently acting each day, even when challenges arise or motivation wanes, strengthens your ability to persist. Each completed task becomes evidence that you can continue despite discomfort, fatigue, or doubt. The repeated pattern builds mental toughness, reduces susceptibility to setbacks, and fosters confidence in your capacity to maintain consistent behavior. Behavior is shaped not by ease, but by persistence. Prioritization increases the value of small wins. Not all actions are equal. Focus on the tasks that move you closer to meaningful goals. Completing these high-impact tasks daily reinforces progress and builds a sense of purpose. Small wins become more powerful when directed toward outcomes that matter, aligning action with vision. Daily effort without prioritization may feel productive, but will not shape behavior toward desired results. Habits reinforce identity. Each small win confirms a self-perception aligned with achievement and consistent. Completing actions daily signals to your mind that you are capable, reliable, and disciplined. Identity and behavior are intertwined. By shaping your actions through repeated wins, you gradually shape your sense of self. You begin to think, act, and respond as someone who achieves consistently, creating a reinforcing loop of success. Momentum grows exponentially with repeated small wins. Each day builds on the previous. The cumulative effect transforms progress from slow and uncertain to steady and predictable. You no longer depend on extraordinary effort because consistent micro-actions create compounding results. What starts as minimal action evolves into a pattern that carries you forward effortlessly. Momentum is a product of repetition, not intensity. Consistency also reduces procrastination. By committing to small wins daily, you eliminate the mental barriers that encourage delay. Starting becomes automatic because action is expected and routine. Over time, hesitation diminishes and tasks are approached with readiness. The mind becomes conditioned to move toward completion rather than avoidance. Procrastination weakens while proactive behavior strengthens. Small wins also cultivate focus. When you concentrate on completing specific daily actions, your attention sharpens. Multitasking and scattered effort drain energy and reduce effectiveness. Daily repetition trains the brain to channel attention toward meaningful work, strengthening cognitive control. Focused effort reinforces behavioral patterns and creates the neural conditions for long-term success. Immediate recognition of success enhances motivation. Acknowledging small victories sustains enthusiasm for consistent action. Motivation fluctuates naturally, but by embedding regular acknowledgement, you create an internal feedback loop that sustains effort. The brain begins to expect satisfaction from accomplishment, reinforcing daily action, even when external incentives are absent. Reflection, combined with repetition, accelerates learning. Each day of small wins provides data for improvement. You can adjust strategies, refine actions, and optimize routines. Continuous improvement reinforces behavior shaping because progress is visible, measurable, and actionable.
The combination of repetition and reflection creates a feedback loop that amplifies consistency and personal growth. Energy management enhances daily action. Habits are more likely to be repeated when mental, physical, and emotional resources are available. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and stress management support sustained engagement. When energy is optimized, small wins are easier to achieve and more impactful. Preserving and directing energy ensures that repeated action is consistent and effective. The cumulative effect of repeated small wins is transformation. Micro-actions, compounded over weeks and months, shift capabilities, confidence, and outcomes. What begins as minor achievements evolves into significant results. Skills increase, self-trust deepens, and resilience strengthens. Each repeated action reinforces behavior, gradually producing the person you aspire to become. Consistency shapes identity, which shapes results. Small wins also build self-accountability. Each completed task strengthens internal responsibility. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through and honors commitments. Accountability internalizes discipline, making future action more likely. This self-reinforcing system strengthens behavior and reduces reliance on external pressures or motivation. Repetition trains automatic. Daily wins eventually require less conscious effort. Actions become habits. Mental resistance diminishes, and consistency is maintained with minimal friction. Automatic behavior reduces decision fatigue and increases long-term performance. The more often small wins are repeated, the more effortless achievement becomes. Challenges are opportunities to reinforce small wins. When faced with obstacles, adapting daily actions to overcome them strengthens persistence. Each victory in the face of adversity reinforces resilience and discipline. Small wins maintain momentum even when circumstances are difficult, ensuring continuous progress. Ultimately, repeated daily victories are the foundation of transformation. The accumulation of small, consistent actions shapes behavior, reinforces identity, and generates lasting results. Success is not a sudden event, but the outcome of daily dedication, focused effort, and repeated achievement. Each small win matters. Each action contributes. Every day becomes a step toward mastery, consistency, and fulfillment. Daily repetition rewires behavior. The person who consistently achieves small wins builds habits that support growth, focus, and discipline. Action becomes second nature. Motivation is supplemented by routine. Confidence increases. Every repeated action shapes your life and identity. Over time, the accumulation of small wins produces exponential growth and lasting personal transformation. Your life is the sum of daily action. By committing to small wins, consistently executed, you actively shape your behavior, character, and potential. Momentum, focus, and resilience grow naturally. Habits solidify. Confidence expands. Challenges are met with preparedness. Each day of consistent small victories compounds into a life of achievement, mastery, and fulfillment. Success is created one small win at a time, repeated without fail, and the person you become is the direct result of these deliberate choices.
Chapter 9. Follow your plan even when your mood tries to stop you. Your mood is not always your ally. Some days you feel energetic, motivated, and ready to tackle everything on your list. Other days, fatigue, frustration, or emotional turbulence can make even small tasks feel impossible. Relying solely on motivation to follow your plan is a trap. Motivation fluctuates, it comes and goes. The people who succeed do not wait for the perfect emotional state to act. They follow their plan consistently, regardless of how they feel. Discipline is the bridge between intentions and results, and following through even when your mood resists is the practice that separates achievement from regret. The first step in acting despite your mood is recognizing that emotions are temporary. Mood swings are natural.
You may wake up frustrated, tired, or anxious, but these feelings do not define your ability to take action. They are signals, not directives. Training yourself to act even when you feel unmotivated builds resilience. You learn that action is not dependent on comfort or emotional alignment. Your plan becomes your anchor, keeping you steady when moods threaten to derail you. Consistency requires detachment from feelings. Waiting to feel ready is waiting to fail. Every delayed action allows the mind to justify inactivity. Procrastination often disguises itself as low energy or not the right time. The truth is, progress is not produced by waiting for optimal conditions. It is produced by taking deliberate steps, repeatedly, despite discomfort. Following your plan under all emotional circumstances develops self-trust and strengthens your capacity to perform consistently. Breaking tasks into actionable steps makes it easier to follow through when mood resists. Large, undefined goals can feel overwhelming, especially when energy is low. A simple, concrete step reduces resistance. It creates a clear, achievable action that does not rely on inspiration. Completing even a small task can shift mood, generate momentum, encourage continued action. The focus should always be on the process, not the fluctuating feeling. Routine is a powerful tool for mood-independent action. When your plan becomes habitual, following through requires less thought and less motivation. Daily routines automate behavior. Habits become stronger than mood. You do not rely on fleeting energy or desire, you rely on the structure you have built. When discipline is embedded in your routine, resistance becomes a minor obstacle rather than a barrier. Over time, consistency reinforces itself because the mind associates action with automatic behavior rather than emotional states. Accountability reinforces action when motivation is low. Sharing your commitments with someone else or tracking progress publicly creates external reinforcement. You are more likely to follow through because you do not want to fail others or yourself. Accountability provides structure and reinforcement that mood cannot undermine. The presence of accountability transforms commitment from an internal negotiation to a reliable system of action. Preparation also reduces the influence of mood. When your plan is clear and resources are ready, taking action becomes simpler. Remove friction wherever possible. Pre-plan tasks, set deadlines, and ensure materials or tools are accessible. The less effort required to start, the easier it is to act regardless of emotional state. Preparation minimizes the excuses your mind generates when energy or motivation is low. Self-awareness amplifies resilience. Recognizing your mood and understanding how it affects behavior allows you to act strategically. Identify triggers for low motivation and have strategies ready to counteract them. This may include pre-scheduled breaks, energy management techniques, or specific rituals that initiate action despite emotional resistance. Awareness transforms mood from an obstacle into information that informs how you maintain consistency. Action fuels motivation, not the other way around. Many people wait to feel inspired before working, but inspiration is often a result of doing, not a prerequisite. Beginning tasks, even reluctantly, can shift emotional state, produce momentum, and generate clarity. Mood follows action, not the reverse. Understanding this principle helps maintain consistency and keeps progress moving forward, even during challenging emotional periods. Discipline grows stronger with repeated practice. Following your plan during moments of low mood is a training ground for mental toughness. Each instance reinforces the idea that you are capable of acting independently of emotion. Your brain begins to rely on structure rather than fluctuating feelings. Over time, self-control and resilience become second nature, allowing you to pursue goals under any circumstance. Time sensitivity reinforces the need for mood-independent action. Opportunities, deadlines, and commitments do not wait for the perfect mood. Delay can result in missed chances, lost advantages, or compounding problems. Acting on your plan regardless of emotional state ensures that progress continues and opportunities are captured. Success is about showing up consistently, not waiting for optimal feelings. Energy management supports follow-through when mood is low. Physical fatigue, poor nutrition, and lack of sleep exacerbate the impact of negative emotions. Prioritizing rest, proper food, exercise, and recovery creates a stable foundation from which consistent action is more feasible. Maintaining energy strengthens resilience and reduces the intensity of mood swings that can derail plans. Visualization strengthens the ability to follow through. Mentally seeing the completion of tasks and imagining the satisfaction of progress primes action. When mood resists, reminding yourself of the desired outcome and the sense of accomplishment can counter inertia. Mental rehearsal prepares your mind to act regardless of emotional fluctuations. Positive reinforcement is essential. Rewarding yourself for completing tasks even when you feel unmotivated strengthens behavior. Recognition of action reinforces neural pathways that associate follow-through with satisfaction. This reinforcement makes it easier to continue acting even during periods of low mood. Progress, not feelings, becomes the focus. Small wins compound into habit. Consistently taking action despite mood strengthens the connection between intention and behavior. Each completed task builds confidence and reinforces identity as a disciplined and reliable individual. Repetition teaches the mind that action is not optional, and over time, behavior becomes automatic. The cumulative effect of small mood-independent victories shapes long-term success. Mindset matters. Understanding that discomfort, laziness, or doubt are normal human experiences allows you to act without judgment. Emotional resistance is not a failure, it is part of the process. Accepting this reality reduces internal conflict and makes action easier. You begin to respond to challenges rather than resist them. This mental shift is crucial for sustained consistency. Decision simplification helps maintain momentum. When mood is low, the mind resists complex or ambiguous choices. Breaking tasks into simple, actionable steps reduces mental friction and makes follow-through more likely. The simpler the action, the lower the barrier, and the more reliably the plan is executed. Streamlined decision-making removes excuses for delay. Commitment to long-term goals strengthens follow-through. Recognizing that each moment of resistance is temporary, but progress is permanent, motivates action. Acting despite mood ensures that effort accumulates, creating compounding results. Each completed task, however small, contributes to the larger objective and reinforces the principle that discipline trumps emotion. Environmental support enhances action. Reducing distractions, organizing tools, and creating cues for behavior makes following your plan easier when mood is low. A structured environment provides external prompts and reduces reliance on internal motivation. The easier it is to start, the more likely action occurs despite emotional resistance. Mindfulness reinforces consistency. Observing mood without being controlled by it allows for deliberate action. Awareness of feelings, without attachment, provides clarity and choice. You learn to act in alignment with goals instead of reacting impulsively to temporary emotional states. Mindful awareness strengthens self-regulation and protects the integrity of your plan. Account for setbacks realistically. Mood will occasionally interfere with performance despite preparation. These moments are not failures, but opportunities to strengthen resilience. Responding promptly after emotional resistance reinforces discipline. Recovery and continuation are more important than perfection. Consistency is built through persistence, not flawless execution. Identity shapes behavior. When you act consistently despite mood, you reinforce the perception of yourself as disciplined, reliable, and goal-oriented. Behavior and identity are intertwined.
Each act of follow-through strengthens self-concept, making future adherence to plans easier. You begin to think and act as someone who persists regardless of emotional state. Momentum accumulates over time. Each instance of following through builds on previous success. Tasks feel more manageable, confidence grows, and resilience strengthens. Over time, action becomes automatic. Mood loses the power to disrupt performance. Consistent follow-through becomes part of your natural rhythm and reinforces long-term achievement. Taking responsibility for action reinforces autonomy. You learn that external feelings, circumstances, or moods do not control results. Your choices and efforts do. This mindset shifts power from fleeting emotions to deliberate action, creating independence from internal resistance. Each task completed despite mood strengthens this sense of personal authority. Finally, the ability to follow your plan even when your mood tries to stop you is a cornerstone of consistency, discipline, and success. Motivation alone is unreliable. Habits, structure, preparation, and mindset sustain progress. Each action taken despite emotional resistance builds resilience, confidence, and identity. Long-term achievement depends on showing up, acting intentionally, and honoring commitments regardless of temporary feeling. Success emerges not from how you feel, but from what you consistently do. Consistent action under emotional resistance transforms life. Daily follow-through compounds into significant progress. Small victories accumulate into substantial achievement. Momentum grows, confidence deepens, and identity aligns with excellence. Mood will fluctuate, but the disciplined mind persists. Each day of acting despite emotional resistance reinforces capability, resilience, and progress. This practice creates unstoppable momentum and ensures that goals are achieved regardless of how you feel at any given moment.
Chapter 10. Prove your commitment by showing up when it feels hardest. Commitment is tested most when it feels hardest to act. Every person faces moments where showing up requires effort far beyond comfort. When motivation is low, energy is depleted, and the mind searches for excuses. These are the moments that define results, shape character, and separate those who achieve from those who merely dream. True progress is forged, not when conditions are ideal, but when challenges, fatigue, and resistance are present. Showing up during these difficult times is the ultimate proof of commitment, because it is easy to act when everything aligns, but real dedication reveals itself in discomfort. The first step is recognizing that difficulty is inevitable. Life is full of days when tasks feel overwhelming, responsibilities pile up, or setbacks appear. Your emotional state fluctuates, fatigue accumulates, and circumstances are rarely perfect. If action depended solely on comfort, progress would be rare. Acknowledging that difficulty is part of the process allows you to anticipate resistance and prepare for it. Understanding that showing up when it is hardest is part of the journey reframes challenges from obstacles to essential tests of commitment. Mental preparation strengthens the ability to act during difficult moments. Visualizing yourself completing tasks despite resistance reinforces neural pathways that favor action over avoidance. Mentally rehearsing challenging situations primes the mind to respond with discipline rather than hesitation. Preparation also reduces the cognitive load at the moment of action, making it easier to act despite emotional or physical strain. Mental readiness transforms difficulty from a paralyzing force into a manageable challenge. Breaking action into smaller steps makes it achievable when motivation is low. Facing a large or unpleasant task in its entirety can feel impossible. By focusing on the first small step, you bypass mental resistance and create momentum. This initial action often reduces the perceived difficulty of the larger task and encourages continued effort. Each small step taken in the face of adversity reinforces resilience,
demonstrating that commitment is maintained through consistent action rather than avoidance. Self-awareness is critical in these moments. Recognizing the sensations of resistance, whether mental, emotional, or physical, allows you to act despite them. Resistance is natural. It is the mind and body's way of signaling challenge. By observing without judgment and choosing action anyway, you train your mind to prioritize commitment over comfort. Awareness allows deliberate response rather than reactive hesitation. Each act of disciplined presence strengthens self-trust and reinforces the value of showing up under difficulty. Consistency amplifies the effect of showing up when it is hardest. Each repeated instance strengthens the neural pathways associated with action and resilience. The more frequently you act, despite resistance, the easier it becomes to maintain this behavior in the future. Commitment is not demonstrated once, it is proven repeatedly. Each time you choose effort over avoidance, you reinforce a pattern that defines your identity as someone who follows through regardless of circumstance. Energy management supports presence in challenging moments. Fatigue, poor nutrition, and stress increase the perception of difficulty. Prioritizing rest, proper fueling and recovery strengthens your capacity to show up when it is hardest. Managing energy is not a shortcut. It is a tool to maintain consistency and sustain action under pressure. Physical readiness ensures that the mind is capable of responding to challenges and reduces the likelihood of giving in to avoidance. Immediate action mitigates hesitation. Delay allows doubt and excuses to grow, increasing the difficulty of engagement. Acting at the moment, even when it feels uncomfortable, prevents resistance from gaining strength. Momentum begins with the first deliberate step, and waiting often amplifies the perceived challenge. Immediate action in the face of adversity is a demonstration of commitment because it overcomes the mind's natural tendency to resist discomfort. Accountability enhances follow-through. Sharing your goals or commitments with others creates external reinforcement that strengthens the likelihood of action. Knowing that someone else is aware of your intention increases responsibility and reduces the chance of avoidance. Accountability acts as a support system during difficult times, encouraging you to act even when internal motivation wanes. Each successful demonstration of commitment builds trust with yourself and others. Mindset is essential. Difficult moments are opportunities to prove character, discipline, and dedication. Viewing challenges as tests rather than punishments reframes effort as meaningful. Your perception determines the energy and focus you invest. Believing that showing up under difficulty is proof of strength transforms resistance into a motivational force. Each act becomes a statement of personal standards and self-respect, reinforcing long-term commitment. Reflection strengthens learning from hard moments. After facing a challenging task, reviewing your actions helps consolidate lessons, identify strategies for future difficulty, and reinforce confidence. Reflection allows you to recognize that you can act effectively even under strain, strengthening mental models that support resilience and consistent effort. This process trains your mind to anticipate challenges as manageable rather than intimidate. The habit of showing up when it is hardest builds resilience. Repeated exposure to discomfort strengthens tolerance for adversity. You learn that temporary discomfort does not prevent achievement and that effort produces progress even under unfavorable conditions. Over time, this habit reduces avoidance behavior, increases emotional regulation, and builds confidence in your ability to persist. Resilience becomes a natural byproduct of consistent action during difficult. Prioritization helps ensure that the most critical actions are completed even when circumstances are challenging. Not all tasks are equal. Identifying and focusing on what truly matters ensures that effort is directed efficient. Showing up for high-value actions under difficulty reinforces meaningful progress and prevents distraction from trivial or less important tasks. Commitment is demonstrated most powerfully through consistent attention to what has the greatest impact. Discipline emerges from repeated practice. Following through when it feels hardest
strengthens internal regulation and self-control. The brain learns that commitment is not conditional on comfort or mood. Over time, this habitual presence becomes part of identity. You begin to define yourself as someone who acts reliably under pressure, capable of maintaining consistency despite external and internal challenges. Small wins accumulate even in difficult moments. Completing one task, even when motivation is low, reinforces competence and momentum. Each minor success builds confidence and encourages continued effort. These incremental victories, repeated over time, create a compounding effect that strengthens habit, identity, and capability. Demonstrating commitment does not require grand gestures. It requires consistent presence in challenging circumstances. Emotional regulation supports consistent action. Recognizing that emotions fluctuate and do not dictate behavior allows you to maintain focus. Acting despite discomfort strengthens the mind's ability to manage frustration, fatigue, or fear. Emotional resilience is cultivated through deliberate presence and repeated effort, creating stability and predictability in performance under pressure. Preparation reduces friction. When resources, tools, and processes are organized and accessible, acting under difficulty becomes simpler. Anticipating obstacles and planning contingencies lowers resistance and supports consistent action. Readiness allows you to engage effectively, demonstrating commitment even when conditions are less than ideal. Identity plays a central role. Every time you act when it is hardest, you reinforce a self-image of reliability, strength, and dedication. Identity and behavior are mutually reinforcing. Repeated acts under difficulty shape perception, which in turn shapes future behavior. You cultivate a sense of self that prioritizes commitment over comfort, creating long-term consistency. Immediate recognition of progress motivates continued presence. Noticing that action was taken despite difficulty reinforces neural pathways associated with persistence. This recognition strengthens confidence and reduces hesitation for future challenging moments. Progress is cumulative, and acknowledgement of effort amplifies its impact. Environmental control supports showing up, minimizing distractions, setting cues for action, and creating a structured environment reduces reliance on fleeting motivation. A supportive context ensures that commitment is easier to maintain under strain, making difficult moments more manageable and consistent action more likely. Time sensitivity emphasizes urgency. Delays caused by resistance or low motivation often result in missed opportunities. Acting despite difficulty ensures that deadlines are met, goals progress, and external circumstances are leveraged effectively. Each action taken in challenging moments compounds into tangible results that accumulate over time. Momentum develops as difficult moments are repeatedly faced. Each instance of showing up creates energy that carries forward to subsequent tasks. Once momentum is established, sustaining effort becomes easier even when motivation is low. This cycle of action and reinforcement ensures consistent progress over extended periods. Practical strategies, such as breaking tasks into micro steps, setting visible reminders, and creating accountability checkpoints, make showing up under difficulty achievable. Each system reduces friction and increases the likelihood of following through. Consistent structures are not substitutes for commitment, but they amplify the effectiveness of disciplined presence. Learning from each difficult moments strengthens future performance. Understanding what strategies enabled action when it was hardest allows refinement of approach, reduces hesitation, and builds confidence. Experience reinforces the knowledge that discomfort is manageable and does not prevent achievement. This iterative learning creates increasingly effective patterns of commitment and resilience. Finally, showing up when it feels hardest is the ultimate demonstration of commitment. It proves reliability, builds identity, strengthens discipline, and ensures progress regardless of internal or external obstacles. Success is not defined by comfort or motivation, but by consistent action in the face of resistance. Each challenging moment faced and conquered is evidence of dedication. Your life is shaped by these acts of presence, and the accumulation of these moments produces lasting achievement, confidence, and mastery. Commitment is validated through presence in difficult. Every time you act when it is hard, you reinforce your capacity to follow through, build momentum, and achieve meaningful goals. This practice transforms challenges into opportunities, resistance into growth, and effort into lasting results. Showing up consistently when it feels hardest is not optional. It is essential for personal transformation, mastery, and success. Each moment of effort under strain strengthens identity, builds resilience, and compounds into extraordinary achievement over time.